Hi, Jean.
Hey,
Guys.
good evening, everyone. Good evening. I just want to tell you that we are currently streaming on YouTube, so I want to let you know that we've started streaming. And then, Christine, are you going to do the recording tonight? Or do you want me to go ahead and do it?
Currently.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so we're also recording. Very good. Okay. Very good. Okay, I just have one more thing to check and then we can get going.
I just wanted to say, Alexa, I don't know why, but you seem so relaxed. I wonder why. Guess she didn't hear.
Okay. Okay, good evening, and welcome to the February meeting of Community Board 6. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on Facebook. I want to wish everyone a happy belated Lunar New Year. And I wanted to also say that we recognize that this is History Month, and thinking about the words of Arthur Ashe as we do our work this evening, he said once, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And I think all of us in the work that we do in our communities do that. We start where we are, we use whatever we have, and we do whatever we can. I want to also take a moment tonight to honor the life of former board member Joyce Evelson, who served on our board for 10 years. I truly appreciated her contributions to the work of the Land Use Committee. Her questions and observations were always so very insightful, and I always appreciated how thoughtfully she participated in what I learned from her. We're going to move into the public comment part of our meeting tonight. Mark, I know you've been looking for both David and Yvonne.
I just see Yvonne. I see Yvonne.
I'm sorry. You see Yvonne?
I see Yvonne.
Oh, perfect. But David's not here as of yet.
Right.
Okay. So
you want to start? You want to start with Yvonne?
Heather, it's Christine. If I could just ask everybody to mute themselves because there's a lot of feedback. So if too many people are unmuted, that's what's causing that. So if you're not speaking, just mute yourself until it's your turn to speak. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christine.
Yvonne should be on. I see her.
Yvonne?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to Community Board.
Hi, everyone.
And if you have to share, I think you do have the capacity, because I know that you had sent as part of your initial packet some pictures. If you wanted to share those tonight, you have 5 minutes to speak. Mark will let you know when you have 30 seconds left, and you should have the capacity if you need to share your screen.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to. It says I can share, but I have to fix something in my operating system, and I'm not able to figure that out right now.
Okay.
I would like to. Can somebody else go while I troubleshoot this?
We only have 2 speakers, and you're the first one that showed up. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm here because I want Yvonne. I'm with RPG Studio. RPJ stands for, I guess, Regal Park Green Alliance. We've been a nonprofit in the community for around, we were fiscally sponsored for around 5 years, and we've been a nonprofit for 5 years. We do a lot of community work, from public art projects to murals you've seen on 63rd and 1 in Yellowstone and Fleet, and a lot of work within schools with robotics and other things. Also a lot of stuff on school fences, like PS 99 school fence and PS 139 school fence. And I'm here today to just kind of tell you a little bit about a new project that we wanted to work toward. And it's a piece of public art that would be going in McDonald Park. And we really wanted to create something that celebrated the lives of people that we've lost during COVID, so COVID related deaths. And so we came up with this design. It's a 5x5 foot box, and around it we'll have reliefs, and the reliefs will be based on different stories that the community tells us. So for example, we received a story from someone about they lost their father, and the person remembered when she was young how her father would always bring flowers home every Sunday after they did their chores and put them in and make the dining room look really beautiful. And it was kind of the first person who ever gave her flowers, and she just really remembered that about him. And so we may sculpt some flowers on a dining room table into a relief, and then that relief would go around the cinder blocks, or the box that would be there. And then we will have on the top of this kind of structure, there would be a reflecting glass. Not a glass, it would be made out of acrylic, and so it would be it would be a reflecting mirror out of acrylic. So when you look down, you would see the sky above, and you would see yourself. And then on the side, it would say, when you're feeling, sad, look down. You'll see this person who you lost within you and within the universe around you. And then we'll also have some sculpted, we'll call them leaf boats, and people can put flowers in the leaf boats. And they can be kind of little stories of messages to their loved ones. So that's the design for the piece. I sent it over to the community board, and I've sent it over to Parks. I've talked with friends of McDonald Park, Stephen Melnick, about it as well. And does anyone have any questions?
If you have any questions, please use the raise hand feature, please.
Oh,
Jack, I see your hand. Jack Medina.
so I see Mark's hand is raised. Do I have to unmute, or do you unmute?
No. Mark, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll go ahead. Yeah. Yvonne, so have you already identified people who are going to be participating with this? Or if there are people that would like to participate, could they reach out to you?
Excellent question, Mark. Yes, they can reach out to me. We have a little postcard that we're sending around. We sent it to the community board. Maybe it can be shared with the members, and you can reach out. And so then you can share your story. You can either call me,
This is Jack.
phone number there, or you can email me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Jack. We can hear you now.
All right, sorry,
Go
I was,
ahead, Jack.
how do I unmute
Jack,
myself?
go ahead.
We hear you, Jack.
Yeah, I'm trying to now mute myself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. You were just testing.
Okay.
So then
All right.
I don't think I see any more hands. I just want to make sure that I say that this is a project that's in proposal. We currently have, there's a public art piece that we have up there that we sculpted with community members. And when that one comes down, if we get the approval, then this project would be able to go up. It typically takes Parks a couple of months to review it and to kind of get back to us. We've put public art up in our park for the last 4 years. One of them we didn't, the first in 2020 with COVID, but we're hoping that we shouldn't have any problems, and that it's obviously a 1 year. Whenever you create something that's public art for McDonald Park, it's 1 year, so it would be for 1 year. And if Parks does not give us the go ahead, we're still sculpting and creating this, and we'll just hold little events in our park around those that we've lost and celebrating them regardless.
Okay. And Yvonne, would you mind sharing tonight the email that if people are interested, where they could contact you? Could you share that?
Yes. Is there a chat? This is my first time using this. I usually use Zoom.
There isn't a chat tonight. We disable chat for this meeting.
Oh, okay. So how do you want me to share that? Oh, just tell you?
Yeah, that would work. Old school. We go old school here.
Yvonne, which is YVONNE at regalparkgreenalliance.org. So regalparkgreenalliance.org. And we'll share also a little card so that you can have that information. You can also call me and tell me your story so that we can sculpt that. And my number is 917-597-3089, 917-597-3089. And it's really just, if you have any thoughts about the project or anything, please reach out to me as well.
Dawn, thank you so much. And I have to say, as somebody who lives just up the way from 139, the Upstander project you did at 139 was beautiful. So thank you for all you do in this community. We're really appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. Mark, I know that we have been successful at locating David, but I wanted to just take a quick pause for a moment. Borough President Donovan Richards has been able to join us tonight. So I want to give him a few moments to say a few things. Borough President.
Thank you, Heather. Did you hear me?
Welcome. I hear you.
All right, perfect, because something's going on with my laptop tonight, so I have to use the phone. But so great to see you. I just wanted to pop in and say Happy New Year to each and every one of you, and thank CB6. And I know leadership has shifted, but want to thank you, Heather, for all that you're going to sacrifice and do for the Borough of Queens and the continuous work you continue to do. And of course, thank our district manager, Frank Lucio, for all of the work that he does. And I wanted to also extend my congratulations to your entire executive board. And I'll just briefly give some quick updates, and then I'll hop off. Just wanted to start by saying that most of you know we put up community board applications, and February 16th is the deadline. So if you are up for reappointment, or if you're somebody public watching, please ensure you get the applications in by the 16th. I also just want to thank this community board and my colleague, council member now, Lynn Shulman, our chair of health for the city council, for the work that we've done to sort of reduce the numbers of this surge that we saw coming from Omicron over the course of the last 2 months. And I know there's a lot of questions about, like, do you wear a mask or not? And to me, the science is still out on that. But I want to thank you for all that you've done to partner with us to, one, get some more sites expanded out in CB6 and across Queens. And also I want to thank you all for all the work we've done to get PPE out and testing kits out. And of course, want to thank the governor and mayor. And we by far are still not out of the woods. And it's one of the reasons I'm proposing, and I propose some legislation that we're going to work with Councilmember Shulman on to create the COVID Office of Recovery, which would be the first of its kind in New York City. And what I envision with this is that it would streamline all of the different respective agencies so we don't run into this situation we ran into during the Omicron surge, and even prior to that. You know, the city should be troubleshooting and being proactive in identifying problematic areas, places where there's a lack of testing, places where there's a lack of vaccination sites. And we think all the agencies should be in one place. And, you know, some people question, I was on New York one Saturday, they were like, well, will this create more bureaucracy? And the answer is no, because it's already bureaucracy there. But I think having everybody in one space centered around talking to each other, whether it's the Department of Education, health and hospitals, Trace and Corps, all in one room talking to each other, will streamline the process and I think make for a more efficient and effective government response as we move forward. And God forbid, we will never see another variant. I also just want to stress everybody should get vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, I'm happy to say that Queens continues to lead the city in vaccinations. Over 1.4 million people vaccinated. We want to get that number close to 100. I mean, it is hovering over 100% for adults, but we still have work to do with children and teenagers. I was just on with Elmhurst Hospital, for instance, this morning on a panel, and we need to see some more progress there, even as the governor entertains relaxing the mask mandate in March. I also just want to add on February 15th, we're going to have the chancellor on a virtual parent advisory board meeting. You should have got the alert, but you can go on to our website and just sign up in advance. And normally that's a really well attended meeting. I anticipate the attendance is probably going to be over 1,000 folks, because normally it's like hovers around 600 to 700. But this is going to be our opportunity to introduce the chancellor, obviously to our community boards and also to the parents of Queens. I know he's been making the rounds. I am encouraged on some of the policy, and I have met with him already, policy items that are important to me, like expanding gifted and talented programming, making sure even if you're going to keep the specialized test, that you're expanding those opportunities in high schools, expanding those opportunities into more communities of color. So I am encouraged by some of the stuff he's talked about, but you know, the proof is in the pudding, and I'll wait to ensure that that happens. And I've also talked about, obviously, about more school seats and also more funding for Queens schools. So it seems like we're heading in the right direction. He's a Queens guy. He's like a neighbor to me, just about. So God willing, we'll make some progress there. I also wanted to add on February 16th at 5:30, we're going to be hosting a virtual budget meeting with the Lieutenant Governor. And that's going to be virtual as well. So you can go to queensbp.org, and we'll be going through the governor's legislative proposals and also fiscal priorities. So I urge you to attend that. And February 23rd, we're hosting our annual Black History Month event. And just to close out, and then if there's like a few questions folks want to bring up, and I want to thank this board, because I know we had, before I get off, a controversial somewhat land use project, and because of this board's persistence, you know, Lynn Schulman and I were able to work together to get them to a deeper affordability option on MIH1. And, you know, I want to send a very strong message to developers that are developing across Queens, that we want to make sure that we have a diversity of incomes so that we're reaching a wider spectrum of folks. And I did vote no on that because I know coming into borough president, they was like, oh, he's just going to side with the developers every time. But I look at things on a case by case basis. We looked at the facts, and I knew that the numbers worked, and I knew that they could work. And I want to thank this board, because it really was a team effort to get them to option one. Just some other things to look out for. We're going to largely be focusing in a lot on hospitals in this budget once again, because we want to make sure we're building up much more capacity in our communities with hospital beds, and making sure that our hospitals have the most updated technology and equipment. So that's something we're going to be looking to do. We will shortly send out some dates for budget requests, and I'm sure the board will have their requests, and we'll have our hearing sometime, I think, in March, mid-March, but we're waiting for the mayor to come out with his preliminary budget, which we anticipate to be around February 16th. And somewhere after that, we'll schedule some time. So the board should definitely start to talk about their budget priorities. So by the time we have our hearing, you know, you're a step ahead of there. I want to close out on just conversations around jobs, because it's a lot going on. And we're really trying to leverage opportunities with industries coming into Queens. So whether it's the life sciences, we are behind the scenes right now working on a tech-heavy initiative for Queens. And we'll have more to talk about in the near future on that, but we're talking to Microsoft, and the deputy borough president has been working exclusively on this, and I'm very proud of some of the work she's done already. We're going to be launching a tech challenge in Queens, and you know, stay tuned on that. There's a lot coming down the pipeline. For those who like Amazon or don't like Amazon, they are opening 6 warehouses in Queens. So we're talking to them right now about, you know, ensuring that those job opportunities, one, if they're going to be here, come to Queens residents. Of course, I want them to improve their labor standards, and I'm in support of that. And we're also talking to them not about the jobs packing boxes, but what about the front office jobs for the borough as well? You know, what about the, you know, corporate jobs? So we want to make sure that those jobs are coming to Queens residents as well. And then obviously I don't have to talk to you about all of the developments at both LaGuardia and JFK, in which we've broken ground on a sizable amount of projects. And these are going to be union jobs. So we're going to be doing a lot of work to promote these opportunities. And I really urge the boards to get this information out, because as we talk about upward mobility, We know people are struggling with housing, unemployment, and we want to make sure that those opportunities are going first to Queens residents and being prioritized. So I know you have a full agenda, but just wanted to stop in and sort of give a brief update on where we're at, and look forward to, we're going to be doing probably a state of the borough in June. So I'll be laying out, because tonight I could be here all night to talk about where we've been and how much we've gotten accomplished, but we're going to be laying out where we've come, how far we've come, and what our vision moving into the future is sometime in June. Assuming the numbers continue to plateau on COVID-19, we'll be doing that in person. So you should look out for that as well. And I think that's it on my end for now. And I'll take questions if you have any, and then I will leave you in peace as I head to the next Zoom meeting.
Latrice, I see your hand up.
Yes. Good evening, Borough President Richards. Good evening, my fellow committee board members. My questions are in regards to the Amazon project. Do you know where and what neighborhoods these warehouses are going to be located? And do you know anything about the salaries of these jobs?
So there's a variation on the salaries, and we're going to do an update meeting with them. And I also urge folks to attend to our monthly job fair. It's the third Thursday every month. So you should, and they were on the last one. I missed the last one. So they sort of go through the variations on the salaries. Right now, they haven't given us all of the location, but Rosedale is one location. I'm not necessarily happy about the location of it, but it's a sight to see. I can tell you that.
Is it near the LIRR train station?
No, they're near, if you know where Snake Road is going into the Five Towns, they're on the border of road. It's like a wetland. We call it Snake Road. And they're literally built like along the edges of the wetland, which I'm not necessarily thrilled about. But they're in a mall area. It's a mall area. They didn't need any approvals to build. It is massive. So Rosedale is one, it's off of Rosedale and Brookville Boulevard. So you could put that in Brookville Boulevard in, what is the highway? The 878 highway.
Right.
So they're right that corner. And then they have a site, I know they opened in Maspeth, and they have a site that they opened in Long Island City. And then, because there's sort of a gag order before they give us the other, they can't give us the other locations until they're locked in. So we're waiting to hear about the other three locations. But LIC, Rosedale, Maspeth are the three sites that I know about right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For me,
Hey, Borough President, I want to thank you for your support of the deeper affordability and the Trilon development in our community that you mentioned earlier. And I have two quick questions related to that. One, there's a lot of new buildings that are going up, especially along Queens Boulevard here in our community. Is there anything we can do to evaluate the impact of this new development as a whole? Because with each land use item that comes up, we have to evaluate it individually, and it's hard to get a comprehensive view of the total impact of these developments. And then number two, related to that, I'm wondering if there's anything we can do to encourage deeper affordability and developments across the board, so we don't have to have this fight and negotiation with every single new development that comes up. Thanks.
So one, a lot of what's happening on Queens Boulevard, which is largely New York City, it's not unique just to Queens Boulevard. There's a lot of as of right development. So, when developments are as of right, we relatively have very little say so. And it's one of the reasons why, as controversial as mandatory inclusionary housing was when we passed it, and I was the zoning chair at the time, it mandated developers to at least come up with the floor. The floor should not be the ceiling, in my opinion. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how the Adams administration approaches where they put subsidy dollars, because historically, for instance, I represented Far Rockaway. And so I'm building 10,000 units out there. There are 10,000 units. They are 100% subsidized by the city, right? So I ate up a lot of subsidy dollars because the city, I believe, feel they can get a bigger bang for their buck in communities that are largely comprised of people of color and largely are places that have been underdeveloped and where the prices of land are cheaper, right? So, you know, you look at Far Rockaway where it may be like $40 a square foot to build, and I'm sure that's changing as we talk, opposed to a Forest Hills where it's probably $100 a square foot or something, right? I don't know the exact number here. So the city will always look to stretch the units where it's cheaper to build. So we have to evaluate how Eric Adams, and he sort of hinted at this, that he wants to see more affordability across the spectrum in every neighborhood. That requires housing preservation and development putting more dollars into subsidy to get to deeper affordability, for instance, in a project like Trilon. But from my purview and bird's eye view, since I've been in the council, you know, they've always just went with mandatory inclusionary. And I'm hoping that this administration entertains, you know, even if they're not going to do 100%, even though we want them, you know, to really looking at a deeper depth of affordability. I don't want to throw a number out, but just, you know, that's one way to get to the deeper affordability. But MIH was never supposed to be the ceiling. It was supposed to be the floor. Under Bloomberg, he didn't build any. So there was nothing being built technically at 70% AMI and under. So mandatory forced and mandated developers to at least come up with the 25, 30%. And unfortunately, because of city policy, we're going to have to continue to fight these out one by one until we see what the mayor's policies look like.
Okay, thank you. Next is Tanya.
Good evening, Borough President. Thank you for coming. Out of all the projects that you mentioned, do you have a ballpark figure as to how many jobs will be coming to Queens?
I don't want to give you exact number on the airport. I would rather get you so you're talking about the airport related projects?
The airport, Amazon, all of the projects you mentioned?
I don't want to give you I mean, it's going to be thousands of jobs coming online here, but okay. Let me say this to you. You know, the outer boroughs are really the future, right? And, you know, you might have seen me on the news with the governor talking about the interborough line coming online. A lot of industries are considering, you know, Manhattan used to be the center of the universe. It's no longer. So I anticipate we're going to see a lot more job growth because really the newer model around retail, around corporations, you know, are to be in, you know, the outer boroughs. So I anticipate you're going to see a lot more of that as we move forward.
Okay. Also, there are rumors that a Whole Foods is coming to 71st and Continental, where the old Dwayne Reed is. Would that bring a lot of jobs to this district particularly?
I mean, I don't want to speculate, but I would have to anticipate if they were coming, you would see construction, you would see a little bit of course, permanent jobs on the supermarket side. So you're probably talking about a few hundred jobs on a site like that.
Okay, thank you.
I haven't heard yet. We should reach out to them now.
Stephen Metz.
Yeah, my question was specifically about Forest Park, which I think is one of the most amazing places in the city. When I go through there these days, I've noticed that there have been quite a few fires that have burnt in that park, but I don't see much work from the park rangers or anyone else to clean up the debris, the trash, the burns. I mean, there's entire stretches of the forest that were burnt during the pandemic and afterwards, or after the lockdown. I mean, what kind of work has been pushed for keeping this park? Because it's almost an old wood in the middle of Queens. It's an amazing place. So I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah. So let me say this: I haven't heard about the fires in particular, and that's something my staff is on, so they can make a notation of this. But I did, which I'm very proud of, the new parks chair for the council, Mr. Shekar, is from Queens, and you know we met this morning to discuss everything you're talking about. I want to see more investments in parks in Queens. We were talking about parks equity money because some of these parks haven't received their fair share of funding. So, as Parks Department now starts to get back in order, they're going to be meeting with us about priorities, and, we'll see where they're at. But we'll add Forest Park to that list to find out, what do they anticipate they are looking to do in the future. But if the community has ideas, that's something the board can put in their budget request. And like I said, I want to fund everything as long as I'm borough president. So maybe that's something we can look at, trails and other things that should be cleaned up. I don't want to give you rhetoric because I don't have there's no plans for that yet. And parks are just starting to get back into talking to us about projects because of the delay around the pandemic. So.
Okay, and last will be Mark Laster. Mark?
Yeah. Hi, thanks for coming, Borough President. So my question involves us, the community board, and we're still allowed to meet virtually, but are you getting any feedback about when that's going to have to shift? And if it does shift, what are you hearing about hybrid options, or are we going to have to go back in person?
So we did some work on this. I think we had sent the letter to the governor and the assembly, and I believe, we'll get you a more direct answer, that they renewed the open laws, meetings laws. So we're in good standing. We can still meet virtually. When time comes for us to, when it expires again, that's something we can revisit either as a borough, but, obviously we'll be binded by the open laws meeting, and there'll be a requirement eventually for us to be back in person. I think they should amend the law so that there is flexibility in it, but that's something we'll have to work with our state partners on. But so far, so good. The governor's office hasn't balked at it. Neither has the assembly speaker when it comes to so we've been in good shape so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Borough President, for making time tonight to come out and see us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. So great to see you. Happy New Year, everybody. Onward and upward.
Take care. Continue to stay safe.
Bye. Stay safe.
Bye. Okay, next we have Senator Joe Adabo is able to be with us tonight. Senator?
Hello, Heather. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. I hope everyone is safe. It's a pleasure being here. I am coming back from Albany. Hopefully, I'm not breaking any laws here by doing Zoom or webinar and driving, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, up in Albany, we are focused on doing our budget, a roughly $216 billion budget. Right now, working on the two biggest portions of which are education and healthcare. And hopefully we get to continue the funding that we did last year with the help of our federal aid. And I also want to thank, again, I want to thank our borough president because he is in the ears of the state electeds. And I want to thank him for his work. I do. I think he does phenomenal work. So we are working through the next 6 weeks or so, leading up to an April 1st budget. This is your tax dollars on the state level. So weigh in. If there's any budgetary issues that you want to highlight, please call my office. Let us know. I want to thank Sean McCabe from my office for always being on the CB6 meeting. So again, I want to thank Sean, but let us know what's important to you. Locally, the borough president mentioned the governor's vision for improved transportation and the interborough transportation. I want to say I thank and I appreciate the governor's vision here. I don't exactly embrace the project at this point. I think a lot of community input is needed because long after that project comes and goes, we are left with what's behind. And so therefore, it does have a direct impact on many of my constituents. I want their voices to be heard. So again, I think the time will come when there will be appropriate time for input. It's a project that you won't wake up one day and see it come to reality. It's going to take a while. And so how we pay for it and the extent of which I think the details need to be drawn out. So again, that's a project that we'll be looking to do. I do have 2 events I have coming up. Just like to highlight those. We have on Wednesday, February 23rd at 4 p.m. We'll be doing a senior webinar. This is about seniors' rights, seniors' issues. And that's on Wednesday, the February 23rd at 4 p.m. And then on Monday, February 28th, working with the City Department of Finance, we'll be doing a webinar on property values and property taxes. We can give you the link. If you just call my office, we can give you the link. Heather, I want to say thank you to you, of course, as chair. I want to thank all the members of Community Board 6. As a former member of Community Board 10, I know the value of community boards and when they work with their electeds and everyone around them. So I want to say thank you for all your work. I want to thank my friend, District Manager Frank Lucio, for his efforts as well. And certainly our police precinct. I think thank you is the two words that our police don't hear often enough. And so I want to thank our police precinct for, again, all their efforts as well. Heather, thank you so much. If I could be of any help or anything, let me know. If there is any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. Let me just check to see. Does anyone have any questions tonight for the senator? Okay, first I see David Schneier. David.
Yes, thank you, Senator Adabo. Mayor Adams recently went up to Albany to discuss his ideas for fighting crime. Could you discuss what ideas the state Senate or state assembly have for fighting crime?
There's a lot of ideas right now, and that's what the next 6 weeks are going to be about. It'll be about funding, mental health that relates to crime, maybe about bail. I look forward to these kind of conversations, and hopefully in the end, all this talk results into action. And that's what really the budget's about, is how do we improve the lives of our people in the state. You know, recently my mailers included a constituent survey in there, and about 500 came back or so. And the number one issue, no matter what point in the district you point to, number one issue is public safety. So I think it's something we have to address, and I'm hopeful that we do.
Thank you so much. Next question is from Mark Lassiter.
Yeah, hi, Senator Adabo. Thank you so much again for coming tonight.
My
question involves the climate, and climate can't wait. And we know that the environment we saw last year what happened with the hurricanes. And I'm just curious to know, has there been much discussion about addressing the environment? There are a number of bills pending that would address the challenges that we're facing. So I'm curious to hear your take on that.
Yeah, Mark, great challenge, great question, great issue. I am so proud to have one of the first local wind farms coming down to the shores of Rockaway, and working with NYSERDA on that issue and many other issues to promote these projects that need to move forward. Thankfully, so a lot of these projects that we're working on, like the wind farm, hasn't been hampered by COVID. These projects are still moving forward, but we have so much more work to do. Again, eliminating fossil fuels, eliminating obviously many of the emissions in our area, in our state. So I think we're on the right path, Mark. But for me, and I guess for you as well, these projects could move fast enough. Again, there's a large portion of the Environmental Protection Fund, EPF, that basically we want to keep funded. So the idea here is, even during the budget process, not only the legislative work, but the budgetary issues that we need to address in terms of our climate. I'm hoping we can be, again, advancing a lot of these during the budget negotiations. Whenever you want an update, Mark, just let me know, and I'll give you an update on any of the environmental issues that we're working on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last question goes to Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee, Senator Adabo.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Senator Adabo.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how's it going? I think we're seeing rising Con Edison bills. Is that something that your office has been handling? Is there any relief in sight?
I always like to say yes. There's something that possibly we can do. Con Ed is tough because they provide such a critical utility service, but they're not a governmental agency, and so therefore it becomes a little tricky. If anyone has any Con Ed issues, I'll always say call the office, because Con Ed has made mistakes. Con Ed, in my opinion, has worked well with our office, so I would say that they're responsive to the concerns of the constituents. So if anybody has a Con Ed issue, please let me know, because again, we always talk about rising, and it's just not Con Ed, it's across the board. But the idea is watching the utility costs, watching again the rising costs of the utilities, but making sure also that there's service is a blackout or a brownout on the mere gusty, windy day. And actually, we're working with Con Ed right now because my area in Middle Village is one of the pilot programs to bury the lines, bury the utility lines underground. I think it's a great idea, but just for that little swatch of Middle Village, it's about a $3 million project, $3 or $4 million project. If that's just Middle Village, You can imagine how much it would have cost to do citywide the burying of lines in the ground. But I think it's a great pilot program, and I have my eye on it closely. But nevertheless, if anybody has an issue with Con Ed, please let me know. We could go on a case-by-case basis, but we're always looking to minimize the increases if we can of the utilities, working with the Public Service Commission to see if we can work with them to see if we can keep the cost of the utilities down.
Thank you.
Senator, one last question
Thanks, Heather.
that I have is, will you also consider building out a sustainability energy efficiency hub for Queens? And also, will you do hybrid for your meetings going forward pending COVID case numbers? So, for instance, would we have your support, in Albany for an open meetings bill that would create a hybrid possibility for meetings? So one is energy hub. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know if I heard correctly, but regarding the open meetings, well, I'm a people person. I love going to CB6 meetings and shaking hands and saying hello to the board members. So I'd love to see you back in person, but I understand the health concerns and the safety of it all. And I have seen an increased amount of participation when meetings are hybrid. Giving the people the choice. I love choice, and giving the people a choice of going in person or participating from a safe venue in their home or wherever. So if given the opportunity, I'd love to entertain the idea of a hybrid. Again, we'll take this up certainly in the next coming weeks as the expiration date for the open meetings law. Again, the approval of doing it virtually expires. So again, whenever either you want on behalf of Community Board 6, whenever you want an update, I can give you an update on that.
Thank you so much, because for us, we want to prioritize the health and safety of our members, and we know that there are some members that even as most of us enter a new normal, if you're immunocompromised, the new normal is still not a new normal for you. And I think that there's a higher percentage of immunocompromised people than we sort of realize. And so that's just something that we care about as a board, and we'll be keeping our eyes on. So any kind of update you have that's, that's material, we'd love to see. So thank you so much. Please, Senator, thank you for making time to see us tonight. Get home safe and sound. And
I will try, Heather. My driving anyway is erratic, so my driving with webinars is really worse, but thank you.
Okay.
But be safe, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for your efforts. Have a great night.
Thank you. You as well. Okay, Mark, we're back to the public comment section. I believe we have found David Javadan. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, he's a panelist. He should be able to speak.
Fantastic, David. Appreciate your patience this evening, and thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. I want to thank the board and every member of the community board for doing so much for the community, for Queens, and for the neighborhood. I'm David Javidan. I'm the new property manager at Park City 3 and 4 in Regal Park, Queens. We are 1,100 unit co-op right in Regal Park. I'm honored to be managing a historic building in Regal Park. And we just went through a very rough transition and a lot of rough challenges for the past couple of months due to the previous management rules and regulations they had. And my mission here is to make it a safe, clean environment for our residents, make it protect our shareholders basically, and make sure we live in a safe environment, clean environment, as well as our neighborhood, make it a clean, safe, comfortable environment for all. And I want to thank the police department in Queens, the Queens Community Board, for all the help, for all the great job you guys been doing. And I will definitely reach out to the board, the community board, if we need any help or support. And thank you, everyone. Hope everyone stays healthy and safe, and hopefully the pandemic is gonna end soon, and people are gonna stay healthy.
Thank you so very much, David, for coming this evening, and we wish you well in all of your endeavors and everything that you're trying to do to take care of your shareholders and take care of your part of the community. So thank you so much, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
Be healthy and well.
Thank you. You all too. Thanks.
Great. Okay, before we move on to the minutes, Christine, how are we? Oh, Frank, I see your hand.
Yeah, can I talk?
Yeah, always.
Thank you. David, I just want to say, I know the board doesn't know that the transition you've just come through has been unbelievably, there'll be books written about it and maybe even a movie. And your cooperation and your joining together with Dr. Renee to come forward to make sure what happened over there, it doesn't happen again in other co-ops and condos in Community Board 6. It was absolutely huge. Trust me, board members of Community Board 6, what they went through was historic, but they kept pushing and the good won out. I want to say thanks to Dr. Renee for making sure we've all met and we tried to help through this past year or two. Finally came to fruition. So good luck, David. You know, you could reach out to us at any time. We are there. I have a great chair and a great board. We'll do whatever we have to do to help you. Thank you again for all you've done for your buildings. Amen.
Thank you, Frank. Okay. Christine, do you want to do a quick run with the attendance?
Sure. So just if I call your name, that means I didn't see you. So just let me know that you're here. Sheridan Chu, Ethan Felder, Gail Gordon, Emmanuel Kalendarov, Ralph Flinart, Raphael Nektalov, and Daniel Yakubov. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next, next we will do the minutes. Does anyone have any changes or issues with the minutes as written from our January 12th meeting? If so, raise your hand. It's a raise hand feature.
Yeah.
John, I heard you. Do you have an issue with the minutes?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, I see no issues. So if I could have a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second it. I'll second it, Elizabeth Newton.
Okay. Okay, and if everyone could take their mics off. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Great. Perfect. Okay. Now, moving on to Chair's report. I just wanted to first open up, Donovan already talked about it, but I'd like to take a minute and just thank our new council member, Lynn Schulman, for her diligent work with the developers, getting them to agree to offer apartments in its proposed Queens Boulevard, you know, the Trilon and the Tower Diner site, to make it available to renters who make an income as low as 40% of the area median income. I also wanted to give you an update. The executive committee did meet last week. We met to discuss a variety of administrative items. We established a holiday scheduling calendar for committee meetings. We reviewed executive committee oversight assignments, and then we had a few discussions around how to sustain all the great work that this board is doing while not sort of burning members out. For instance, one of the things we decided against was the double booking of meetings in a single evening, because we felt that that was one of those things that wasn't necessary and could really be cumbersome, especially if you end up being in a double booked meeting of the same night. So, and you'll be seeing some of the results of this work come out in the next several months going forward. I also want to say that Tanya Paget has done a lot of work, especially on our Facebook page, to put up a lot of information that a lot of the good stuff that Christine puts out every single Friday. And then also on top of that, meeting notices and news items. So please, if you would just take a moment, and if there are items that are relevant to the role that you sort of serve in the community or or is relevant to groups that you are in on both Facebook or other places, that you would please feel free to pick those messages up and share those messages out. That would be really helpful, so that it would not just only raise the visibility of the community board, but it also would put people in touch with things that would actually change their circumstances, or would actually be good experiences for them, or be very informative for them. If you could start doing that, that would be great. And then lastly, Donovan said this already, the deadline for community board applications is really fast approaching, the 16th, just around the corner. If you have people that you work with in this community, that you work with maybe in a civic group, or maybe in a local school, and you think they would be a great fit for this board, maybe there's somebody that you work with in the community that you think is a great fit for this board, because maybe that part of this community isn't represented on this board, please encourage them to apply. We would appreciate that, because the more this board looks and acts like our community, the better we can serve our community. And I think that's really important. And we have opportunities for that. So please don't be afraid to, ask one or two people that to apply to the board. And I'm going to turn this over to our district manager, Frank Galuccio. Frank?
Hey, thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. To clear up two things. The rumor about Whole Foods has been around for a while. I wish it would come also. The Forest Park is not part of Board 6, but I'll make a note to the board that does run through Forest Park to have their people look at that tomorrow. We are coming into the budget season. Besides the state, the city will be giving out, the mayor will be giving out this preliminary real soon, and then we'll be able to have a really good idea of where we stand. Heather and I will be meeting with the council member to discuss some of our district needs and a couple of items that we feel are necessary. Two very important things happened this week. There was a huge discussion with the district managers regarding cannabis. Those of you my age would recognize it as pot. The big discussion was the management of it and the enforcement of it in the dispensaries that will be coming throughout the borough. There's good and there's bad and there's ugly and then there's very good with the situation. But they gave us a great historic lesson with regard to the plant itself and where we can go with it in the future. It's a billion-dollar industry. It's here, it's been approved, it's on its way. The state has not figured out the real details, how it will affect us. I'm not sure, they're still guessing, but the borough president is putting together a task force with regard to it for the borough of Queens. We'll be one of the first boroughs that have something to say about this. Talking about money, I'm sure you all know about sports betting. It's all over TV and on the radio. This weekend alone, in one day, the Super Bowl, they expect to bring in over $159 million into the state. The question that Heather and I have, what's the deal with the money? Where's the money going? For years and years, we've heard that the lottery goes to education. Well, we'd like to zoom in on that a little bit. That'll be part of our discussion with the council member and our state electeds to help. We have big needs. You might not think so because it's our zip code, but we have big needs in the area of education. Yeah, we have good schools, but we're not going to get into that now. The last item I have for you, I had a great discussion. I shared some of this stuff with Mark and Tanya just the other day or today. DFTA has come up with a community care option. And I know you guys are trying to put together a directory, a cheat sheet, if you will, where people can look at it. It did exist many years ago, but they're putting it back into the 21st century. And since that's done, we'll pass it out. Let's see. Yeah, that's all I have for everybody tonight. It's been a quick month. Heather and I, like Alexa and I, we said it last month, left hand and right hand, and we're gelling, which is a cool thing. We're here for you every single day of the week. Don't hesitate to call us. One more item, okay? I just mentioned Whole Foods and the parks. If you see something on Facebook, please don't do a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, we had a situation this week and last week, whatever, and none of it was true. Grossly exaggerated. Call us. We could easily check. We make a phone call here, a phone call there. I'll take the agita out of your life, the stress out of your life. We'll get you the real fact, okay? You might like it, you might not like it, but that's what we're here for, okay? So when you see stuff on Facebook, please take it with a little grain of salt, not the whole salt shaker. Thank you. Hey, I see Bruce smiling. Thank you, everybody.
And to Frank's point, you know, the thing is, a lot of things do happen in this community where people will say, have you seen this trash all over the place? Or did you see that the entrance to such and such a subway is closed? And the thing is, when people see that sort of stuff, if you would just simply say to them, please put it on 311. Go to 311, log a complaint, because that data helps drive spending decisions, and that data helps us better know what is happening in our community. So no one on 311 is going on Facebook to try to track this stuff down. So the more they do, the more that stuff gets reported to 311, the better off we are as a community, because then there's data behind issues when we raise them to different elected officials to say, you know, you can even pull the 311 reports. You will see X, Y, and Z. But if the stuff isn't getting reported, then we kind of have a hard time finding data to back up what we absolutely know is occurring in our community. So just a little plug there for the 311. Okay, next up. I would like to
raise. I know it's difficult to see with my background, but I do have my hand raised. I had for a while. This
sure.
question is,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay, Heather. You probably can't see it. This question is for Frank. We're saying that we have been hearing rumors about Whole Foods coming to 71st Avenue. Is there any definitive, reliable information on that?
No, not that I'm aware, but tomorrow we'll check with the buildings to see if any permits have been filed for anything. You know, we'll give the old college try to see what we could research on that. Yeah, we know a lot of people would like that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Trader Joe will like it, but others will
I
like
would love it, but thank you.
it. Okay.
Okay.
I have
Any
a
other
question
questions?
too. Yeah, I had my raise. I had my
Go
hand
ahead.
raised.
Hi,
So
Irina.
regarding the 311 comment, so I pass by Grand Central Service Road from like the Forest Hills High School to I don't know, a few blocks down, and I've called 311 several times about right behind the Forestdale where the trucks. There is so much littering and so much garbage. And every time I call, they cannot find that location because there's no address. It's behind Forestdale, the foster care. So I'm not sure like who to raise that to, but that's been an issue and it's been getting worse.
Okay, Irina, here's what I would do. Tomorrow, I would send an email to the office. If you have pictures, that helps. If you don't, that's fine. But if you could just give us as much detail as you have, then the office can begin to run that down. What maybe everyone doesn't realize is that the staff in the office, every staff member has specific areas of this specific agencies that they work with, and so we have a plan for this. You know, like Elizabeth Warren used to say, I have a plan for this. So does our office. So if you could just send that information into the office to Frank and CC myself, then Frank can work with his staff to then run this down. These are exactly the things that we need you all to be reaching out to us, because you're our eyes and ears. You know, this is a big community and I can't cover it all. I know that's for sure. Anything else, Irina?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Thank you. Okay. Finally, we're going to move on to a presentation. I want to welcome Jillian Rudas from MELS, as we know it, the Metropolitan Expeditionary Learning School, right on Metropolitan Avenue. She's going to share with us a presentation that her students put together. I know that I can't introduce it properly, so Jillian, I'm going to give you the floor. Thank you for being so patient tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm able to share my screen, right? Because we made a video?
Yes, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. Yeah, so the video, because the students couldn't be here obviously tonight, so we did compile some of their work. So I'll just do an intro and then share the video. So my name is Jillian Rudis. I'm the school librarian at the Metropolitan Expeditionary Learning School right here in Forest Hills. And in December, I had the opportunity to guide our 6th grade students through a case study titled Queens Public Library Advocating for a Community Resource. This case study came about after Martha Tucker reached out to MELS requesting that our students support Community Board 6 in advocating for the renovation of the North Forest Park branch of the Queens Public Library. In this case study, students learned about the goals, mission, and vision of QPL. Students conducted field work to the North Forest Park branch, noting the current condition of the library and identifying areas in need of development based on the goals of the QPL and on the needs of the community. Students designed a survey and analyzed the data that they received from 900 MELS students. Students also had the opportunity to meet with Nick Buron, the VP of QPL, to ask him questions about his goals and the renovation process. And finally, students created 3-minute speeches arguing why the renovations to this branch are essential. They developed their presentations with logical reasoning, relevant facts, and data. And the winning speeches were recorded and will now be presented to you. So let's see if I can get this up. Can you see that? Yep. Okay. Well, I guess we have to see if you could hear it. You can hear it?
No.
We don't hear the sound.
Okay, I've never used this before, so did I have to share my sound?
Why don't you put on the closed caption, and maybe at least we can read it if we can't hear
The
it.
captions are on. Do you see the captions?
No,
No.
but I see you have a closed caption option there.
Do you hear the music on your end, Jillian?
Now we see the closed caption.
Oh, you can see the captions?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear it on your end, Jillian?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. I wonder if when I shared, I had to share something else. Does anybody have any tips for sharing? Like, do I have to press a certain button? Let me try that one more time.
I can see the caption, but the print is very small.
I'm going to try one more time, trying to use my 2 years of Zoom skills and see if I can. Aha, maybe this work. Let's try this again.
It's updated technology
That worked.
to supply the community with resources they need. One of the Queens Public Library 2022 to 2026 goals is to improve user experiences with new and updated technology. Even so, the computers in this library are not updated in any way. The librarian at this location says the computers are currently Windows 7, which even had its end of life in January of 2020.
While asking the QPL's goals to teach people with their education and fun for free, having updated technology helps this because access to good and new computers helps with researching new things with being able to use the computers for free.
Clearly, this technology needs to be changed. The community agrees. In a survey of 651 middle school and high school students at MELS, almost 70% of them wanted new computers, printers, and laptops. Along with that, nearly 35% of the students want to see other types of technology being installed. A Queens Public Library goal that was set by one of the librarians I met in the library named Fran is to have better seating. But they don't get funding and just don't have the money for it. While people still go to the library, there are a couple of schools right next to it. As a result, the library needs more funding for the building and seating. The middle school and high school did a survey about the library and said that 48% of the kids said it didn't have comfortable seating. Also, 432 sixth graders chose comfortable seating as something the library needs. In fact, the last time I was there, I only stayed for a short amount of time because the seats were so uncomfortable. While most students don't go to the library, maybe if the library would have what the students needed, one of the things being comfortable seating, students will go to the library more often.
According to the expert visit of Nick Buron, the vice president of Queens Public Library, he wants kids to go to the library not just to do homework, a project, or research, but also to have fun and hang out, which is very well likely to happen if there's a teens room and a betweens room. According to our survey that we did here at Mel's, 1/4 of the students we surveyed will definitely go to the North Forest Park Library if there is a teens room and a betweens room. Queens Public Libraries has many goals, and one of them is to provide homework help programs, which is very well possible if there's a teens room and a betweens room. The facade is drab brown brick, which doesn't help the library stand out amidst like other buildings. And the entrance and sign for the library itself isn't in clear view either. And consequently, there are less visitors to the library. Additionally, there's no easy access to book return. Patrons of the library have to enter the building to return books through a lengthy process. And if the library is closed, they can't return books at all. A solution to this problem is an automated book return service, which requires funding. The librarians at the North Forest Park branch want this as well, saying that if the library is closed, people can still come here and return their books.
So thank you so much for giving our students this opportunity to have their voices heard and for giving them this educational opportunity to advocate for community needs, as these sixth graders are the students of the future voting citizens of this community. So please keep us informed as you move through this process. It's very important to our students at Mel's. So thank you so much for letting us have this forum. And I recorded this, if that's okay, to share with the kids so they know that you heard their voices tonight.
Jillian, thank you so much. And I think in that room are probably some future Community Board 6 members, it sounds like, especially the young gentleman that seems to be in hot pursuit of funding, additional funding. So I think the future looks really bright. And thank you for helping the students, because I think that our community is better when people can look at it for the problems that we can solve and how we can solve it, to look at it from a solutions-based perspective. And I think that was clear from these students. So thank you so much for all of your work there. And thank you for your technical skills that you've gained from 2 years of Zooming. So thank you so much.
Heather, we have a couple of hands.
Oh, you have a couple of hands. All right. You're going to get some questions. All right. Let's Reese. I'm going to call on you first.
Thank you. And thank you, Jillian, for the excellent presentation. It's not a question, more of a comment. What you're doing sounds like it's right up the alley of the Education and Library Committee. And furthermore, as a library user, you know, I'm old enough to remember RIF, reading is fundamental. I'm old enough to remember that. And so I'm just curious, I've never set foot in the North Forest Park Library. I've walked by it many times. Like Regal Park is very small. I would say like the Elmhurst Library is like an ideal library for the size of our neighborhood. What is the size of the North Forest Park Library, like capacity, you know, in terms of, you know, building capacity? Because is it smaller than Regal Park? Is it bigger than Regal Park? Like, I just want to get a sense of the size.
I'm pretty sure it's smaller than Regal Park and has never been renovated. It was updated a little bit in the 90s when, you know, computers came and they had to like redo wiring and outlets and stuff. But other than that, it still has like that mint green, like that was cool, I guess, you know, 50 years ago. That's all painted. It's a small space in the front and then a little children's room. But it's like picture books and little tables and chairs. And it was funny because we went in there with the kids and there was high schoolers sitting like their big bodies in these little tiny chairs. And it was just like, we don't even have chairs that fit teens.
Like I know recently the Education and Library Committee secured funding to expand the Regal Park Library. Do you know if there's a similar plan in the works for this library, or is that even possible? Because I think I'm trying to think, like, again, you're on Metropolitan Avenue, like, would that be possible to expand the space? Is that an option?
When Nick Buron came to the school to talk to kids, they asked him about renovating, like if we could do some updates. And he said, ideally, they would like to renovate the whole place and add a second floor. There is space around it that kind of goes into the McDonald's parking lot, but he was thinking more of like, if we're going to renovate the space, we got to do it right and add a layer. I don't know if that's completely necessary. I think just changing some of the spaces that they have in there. The whole front part of the library right now is a storage space for one of the other Queens branches that closed down, and they packed up all their books. So the front of the North Forest Park, when you walk in, there's hundreds and hundreds of boxes of books just filling up all the space that could actually be used as like a teen area. So just some things to think about. And
Absolutely.
The school was only built 12 years ago, so they
Yeah,
didn't
'cause
realize they were
it's a
going to
high
have
school course in there.
2,000 kids, right?
Oh.
And to address the funding issue, Latrice, I know that former Councilwoman Karen Koslowitz, in her discretionary spending last year, did allocate funds to the North Forest Park Library for work to be done. And I have that in my computer somewhere, but I don't want to screw up what's going on technically tonight by pulling that up. So I will dig that out, dig that information out and get that out to you so I can better answer that question. Because there is some money that has been allocated for work there. There may actually have even been money supplemented by our former Speaker of the Council as well for that project, but I need to double check that. But Latrice, great question. John, John, I see your hand.
Yes,
and
yes,
then
yes. And hopefully you hear my voice. But I just wanted more of a comment too. First of all, to compliment you on your presentation. I think one of the important things about your presentation is that it really underlines the extent to which any kind of a plan to improve services at that library has to just take into account what an important resource it is to the whole a campus of new schools. I mean, I really must say that until hearing it, I really didn't draw in the relationship between it and the fact that by basically advocating to improve it, you really are doing something that's related directly to the whole campus and the various schools. And I think you raised a very important argument that we can make, we, the elected officials, can make in advocating for more resources, other things that can be dealt with there. So I really think this is a very positive, thing, not just for the presentation itself, but where it may be able to lead. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And then last is a question from Kevin Lee. Kevin.
Thank you. So North Forest Park Library is my library. I've also been to the Regal Park and the Forest Hills Library. I would encourage board members to visit it. When we have the time. There, on the education committee, there's we've been having conversations around the North Forest Park Library, and sometimes there's this assumption that because the Mel's campus is so big and that there's a library on the campus, that maybe the North Forest Park Library is not needed. And I'm so glad you presented this video today, because it gives us a chance to challenge that assumption. Because I just have to imagine that students want to have a space, whether it's on campus or just nearby off campus. So just a comment.
I just want to add one thing to that. I know you have a packed agenda, but there are 3 schools on the Metropolitan campus, and in my school there's a library, in Metro High School there's a library. But there are before hours when before school starts, there's after hours when school closes. School closes at 3 o'clock. Where are kids going between school and sports? Or where are kids going if they can't go home? Or if kids don't have access to a printer or a laptop or even internet? So the library is not open all the time for all the millions of things that happen in schools. So it really is a safe space for kids to go to after school instead of McDonald's. If you pass by after school, all the kids are chilling outside McDonald's. What are they doing there when they could have a teen space 100 feet away that is actually providing them things to keep them engaged and stimulated? So But Martha Tucker actually came to Mills and met with all the 6th grade students. So I don't know if you know that she had the opportunity to do a Q&A with them.
Yes, and thank you. We really appreciate this project. We really appreciate the thoughtful conversations, and we really appreciate you coming tonight to our meeting. And hopefully, you know, we can have a report back to you at some point in the future to sort of let your students know sort of what's happening with the project, because that's sort of, you know, I would hope would encourage them to continue their participation in their community.
Yes,
So thank you
really
so
great.
very much. Thank you.
Thank
and
you
Martha,
so much.
Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. And Martha, thank you so much for getting this started and for taking the initiative. We really appreciate that. Okay, next. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, next up is the most exciting part of our meeting. It is the liquor licenses. It is the report from the Consumer Affairs. So Elizabeth, I'm going to turn the floor up to you. I'm going to give you the floor. There we go. I'm going to give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You make me chuckle when you say that it's the most important part, because I don't know if I would say that, but thank you. So I just chuckled when I heard that, but anyway, thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, good evening, everybody. Elizabeth Newton, Chair of the Consumer Affairs Committee. We have 1 new liquor license, we have 6 renewals, and we have 7 street fair applications. The new liquor license is the Cottage Tavern. The Cottage Tavern is on 72nd Avenue. That was prior to being the Cottage Tavern. I believe it was the Cottage Inn that was there for many, many years ago, and it was a change of ownership. My understanding is that one of the chefs bought this establishment and submitted an application for a liquor license. Many of you know that they had submitted an application before during I think it was last year, and there were a few things that they needed to answer, so they were approval with on the condition that they would answer certain questions, and there was some confusion. But in any event, they have submitted a new liquor license, and we have a quorum. More than 50% of our members have voted yes to approve their license. So that's the Cottage Tavern at 10807 72nd Avenue in Forest Hills. The 6 renewals we're all familiar with. The first one is 718 Hookah, and that is located at 7213 Austin.
Elizabeth?
What's the problem?
You're buffering. You were buffering just a little bit. Go ahead.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you guys hear me? A full location is from the restaurant Reef. They're located also at 10802 72nd Avenue in Forest Hills. The third application is Shogun, located at 11116 Queens Boulevard here in Forest Hills. The fourth application is Gabrielle's, located at 9017 63rd Drive. The fifth application is Dillis, Forest Hills, located at 10319 Metropolitan Avenue. And lastly, The Bun, that's located at 100-30 Be Like Boy, Queens Boulevard. The 112th precinct has not received any negative comments about these establishments, and the committee voted to approve their renewal applications for liquor license. Now, I don't know, Madam President, if you chairperson, you want me to move on to the street fairs, or you want to vote now, whatever you want me to do. But I could move on to the 7 applications that we received for the street fairs.
I think I'd like to do the liquor license vote first and then do the street activity. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah, that's
So-
fine. I think there's a
Okay.
hand up. David?
Okay, great. Thank you.
The 718 Hooker Lounge on Austin, there were past complaints about them. There's been no complaints about smoke, they have good ventilation and things like that.
I haven't heard any negative complaints about them. I know that Christine and Frank are very thorough in reaching out to 112th Precinct and finding out if there are any complaints, whether recent. And my understanding is there's no complaints whatsoever. Christine or Frank, can you validate that? Okay, thank you, Christine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Thank you, Frank. Does that answer your question, Dave?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to move. Okay.
So what we want to do to vote on these is just like yes. So it'll be first vote for the new liquor license, and then the second vote would be for all the renewals. Okay, so I'm going to call your name, so just make sure to take yourself off of mute when I call your name. Michael Arcadi.
Yes to all.
Anicia Ayon.
Yes to all.
Okay, Kavish Batra.
Yes to all.
Okay, Peter Beadle.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Miriam Burfus.
Yes to all.
Howard Birnbaum.
Yes to all.
Okay, Heidi Chain.
Yes to all.
Okay, Sheridan, did you join us?
Yep, I'm here. Yes to all.
Okay, thank you. Good to have you tonight. Alexander Cohen.
Yes to all.
Patrice Davis.
Yes and yes.
Okay, great. John Derzowski.
Yes to all.
Okay, Alejandro Diaz Houston.
Yes to all.
Okay, myself, yes. Keith Engel.
I vote yes to all.
Okay, thank you. Ethan Felder, did you join us? Okay, Gail Gordon, did you join us? Okay, Brendan Griffith.
Yes to all.
Bruce Grossberg.
Yes to all.
Dead.
Yes to all.
Dead. Okay, thank you. Emmanuel, did you join us? Okay, Prameet Kumar.
Heather, sorry, this is Oded. Did you call my name? I was lagging for a moment.
Oh yeah, I did. Did you vote? I had you down for a yes. Is that true?
It is true. Yes to all. Sorry.
Okay. And Prameet. Okay. Mark Laster.
Yes to all.
Okay. Ralph, were you able to join us? Okay. Jonathan.
Yes to all.
Kevin Lee.
Yes to all.
Jack Medina.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Renee.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Stephen Metz.
Yes to all.
Pat Morgan.
Yes to everything.
Thank you. Raphael Natalab, were you able to join us? Okay. Elizabeth Newton.
Yes to all.
Okay. Tanya Paget.
Yes to all.
Sherry.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Gladys Sandoval.
Yes to all.
David Schneier.
Yes to all.
Okay. Herbert.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Jean Silva.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Teresa Simmons.
Yes to all.
Okay. Robert Tamaye.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Irina.
Yes to all.
Okay. Martha Tucker. Martha Tucker.
Stop.
Okay. Susan Wanderman.
Yes to all.
Okay. Alexa Weitzman.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Joan Weston.
Yes to all.
Okay. Edwin Wong.
Yes.
Daniel Jacobo, were you able to join us tonight? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So let's move on now to the street activity part of the presentation. Elizabeth?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I get so excited about these street fairs because they're so much fun and there's so much to do at them and buy at them. So the first is the Queens Boulevard Forest Hills Fair. The setup date is October 30th of 2022 at 8 a.m. That will end, and it will end on October 30th, 2022 at 6 p.m. The location is Queens Boulevard between Yellowstone Boulevard and 70th Road. It's a full street closure. And the sponsor is 112 Precinct and Community Council, or I should say 112 Precinct Community Council. The second is 63rd Drive Spring Fair. The setup date is May 21st, 2022 at 8 a.m. and they will end at 6 p.m. on the same date. The location is 63rd Drive between Queens Boulevard and Austin Street, and it's a full street closure. The sponsor is Forest Hills Visiting Neighbors. The next one is Forest Hills Festival of the Arts, and the setup date is June 12th at 8 a.m. and the end date is June 12th at 6 p.m. The sponsor, the location is Austin Street between 69th Road and 72nd Road. There is a full street closure. And it's also 71st Road between Austin Street and Queens Boulevard, a full street closure. And lastly, 71st Avenue between Austin Street and Queens Boulevard, a full street closure. And the sponsor is Forest Hills Chamber of Commerce. Then next we have Queens Boulevard Festival. The setup date is July 17th at 8 a.m. and to end at July 17th at 6 p.m. The location is Queens Boulevard between Yellowstone Boulevard and 70th Road. It's a full street closure, and the sponsor is Forest Hills Jewish Center. Next, we have 63rd Drive. The setup date is August 13th at 8 a.m. to end August 13th at 6 p.m. The location is 63rd Drive in Queens Boulevard and Austin Street. Full street closure. The sponsor is Forest Hills Regal Park Lions Club. Next, we have Forest Hills Fall Festival. The setup date is September 18th at 8 a.m. to end on the same date at 6 p.m. The locations are Austin Street between 69th Road and 72nd Road, 71st Avenue between Austin Street and Queens Boulevard, 71st Road between Austin Street and Queens Boulevard, all full street closures. The sponsor is Forest Hills Chamber of Commerce. Lastly, we have Queens Boulevard Forest Hills Fair. The setup date is April 3rd at 8 a.m. to end on the same day at 6 p.m. The location is Queens Boulevard and Yellowstone Boulevard and 70th Road. The service road going eastbound, and it's a full street closure. The sponsor is 112 Precinct Community Council. Now, I just want to point out that there was a quorum and that we voted yes, except we had one abstention for the application number 1, which was Queens Boulevard Forest Hills Fair. And then we had I believe there were 2 abstentions for number 5 and 7. And that is, they are the 63rd Drive Fair, and lastly, the Queens Boulevard Forest Hills Fair. Other than that, we had a quorum. More than 50% voted yes to these applications.
Okay, great. Christine, I know that you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something on the times, because there was an error on the agenda that everybody received. So the times listed on the agenda, 10 to 6, is the actual time of the event. The setup and breakdown is actually like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I just wanted to clarify that there was a typo on the agenda, that those times do not include setup and breakdown. Those are the times of the actual events. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Okay, I want to open up the floor if there are any questions, any concerns before we head to a vote. If you have questions or concerns, as we've been doing all night, just use the raise the hand feature so we can call on you. Thank you.
Mark has
Okay,
his
first,
hand up first.
I see Michael Arcadi. Go ahead.
It's just a general question I'm asking is on behalf of the American Legion Post. The commander there, I did put permits in for the parade last month. We're scheduling the parade for May 29th. I'm just curious if the committee received the application or is in process, or does it go through the committee?
No, if I may.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, I've already noted it on the New York City site that you have applied and does not have to go through us. That is a police permit situation. But we're okay with it. You would have been grandfathered in anyway. So I've seen the application online, Mike, so there are no issues.
Okay, I did receive the permit for the park usage at the Remsen Family Park. So
yeah, that's Parks Department.
This is my first time trying to get this parade done because of COVID. I haven't been able to pull off for 2 years, so I appreciate everyone's assistance. Thank you.
Not a problem. I see Herb and then Mark Laster.
Hi, I'm looking at the list and 1 and 7 seem to be the same fair, but at different times of the year. One's in the spring and one's in the fall. Why doesn't it have the name Forest Hills Spring and Forest Hills Fall?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. Can anybody answer that? Christine or Frank, can you answer that?
No.
It's just the name on the application. We have no control over it.
Okay.
Maybe you could ask Heidi. Heidi, can you rename your events?
Summer, spring, and
So
fall.
we'll know which one is fall and which one is spring because the date that it's
I rely on Clearview for the naming of the events, and we thank them for their help in arranging the events. But it is the 112th Precinct Council.
Yeah, it could come up if we're talking about the Queens Boulevard Forest Hills Fair, and we're not specifying the date. So it could be.
Date's right there.
Yeah, I did. Herb, I did give you the date. I did give you.
I'm saying in conversation. People are talking. Whatever.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope everybody attends.
Okay.
I love these fairs. I'll be there.
Yes, same here. Next question is from Mark Laster. Mark?
Yeah, I have a question about number 4. That's being sponsored by Forest Hills Jewish Center. And isn't that the same location of where the farmers market is? Or is this going to be like on the outside in the, in the main part of Queens Boulevard? Because I think that's where the farmers market is.
Well, no, because this is, well, okay. But this is Queens Boulevard and Yellowstone Boulevard and 70th Road. So that's a little further, that's a block up. 70th Road is near, isn't that Restaurant Road? We refer to it as Restaurant Road? The farmers market is not up that, the farmers market is not up that block. They're right in front of the post office.
It'll be on the
But you mentioned Yellowstone, so that would incorporate that space.
Say that again. I'm sorry?
I said, but you mentioned Yellowstone, so Yellowstone would incorporate that space in front of the post office.
Oh, no, it'll be on the service road that runs down the side of McDonald's.
Right. Yeah, that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to interfere with that, that farmer's market that's directly in front of the post office. No.
Okay.
I think it's actually, it's between, that farmer's market is between Yellowstone and then a block ahead or more is 70th Road. So it's not going to interfere.
Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Okay, yeah,
Indeed.
okay.
Just-
Thank you.
Heather, I just promoted Robert
Chris.
Ash from Clearview. Robert, do you have anything to add, or is that clarified enough? Because he was raising his hand.
Sure. Robert, good evening. Nice to have you.
was there.
Robert? Did we lose Robert?
I think he's on
Maybe.
mute. There you go. He just unmuted.
Okay, Robert.
He's unmuted, but we're not hearing him.
Robert,
Can
we
he hear
cannot hear
us?
you.
Can he hear us? Robert, we can't hear you, wherever you are. Oh, is that you with the glasses?
There he is.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
There must be a microphone issue on his end.
I think he's still trying.
Sorry,
I just started hearing you guys.
There you go.
Thank you. And I lost you for about a minute there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
fine. Hear you.
Okay. In regards to the street, I don't know if you guys resolved that. We're using the north side of McDonald Park for the fairs, and the south side is the farmers market.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the clarification, Robert.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? I don't think I see any other hands. Okay, so I want to go ahead and move to a vote. And how I want to do it, I understand that some of you will have to abstain from certain events. So what I will do is, as I call your name, just say, yes or no, do all. And then if you have one you have to sort of recuse yourself from voting on, just let us know at that time and we will note that. Christine, does that work for you?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, that works. And you can
Does that
just tell
work?
me what numbers you're, so you don't have to say them all, because they're all numbered. So just tell me which numbers you're abstaining from, and that will be good.
Okay, great. Okay, so here we go. Michael Arcadi.
Yes to all.
Okay, Anisia Ayon.
Yes to all.
Okay, Kavish Batra.
Yes to all.
Okay, Peter Beadle.
Yes to all.
Miriam Burfus.
Yes to all.
Thank you. Howard Birnbaum.
Yes to all.
Okay, Heidi Chain. Heidi?
She's
Can you hear
muted.
me now? I'm sorry.
Yes, I hear you now.
Perfect. Okay. The two, the first one, and I think it's the 7th, that is sponsored by the 112th Precinct Community Council, I have to abstain. And I am a member of the Forest Hills Regal Park Lions Club. So just to be safe, I want to abstain from that one, and yes to everything else.
Okay, so that's 1, 7, and 5. Thank you for
Yes.
that. Sheridan?
Yes to all.
Okay. Alice Cohen?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Latrice?
Yes to all.
Okay. John Derzowski?
Yes to all.
Okay. Alejandro Diaz-Houston?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Me? Yes. Keith Engel?
Yes to all.
Okay, thank you. No Ethan, no Gail. Brendan?
Yes to all.
Bruce Grossberg?
Yes to all.
Oded?
All.
Thank you. Emmanuel? No. Pramit?
Yes to all.
Okay. Mark Laster?
Yes to all.
Okay, no Ralph. Jonathan?
Yes to all.
Kevin?
Yes to all.
Max Medina?
Yes to all.
Okay. Dr. Renee?
Yes to all.
Stephen Metz?
Yes to all, and unfortunately, I have to go for some family issues, so I apologize to everyone for my early absence, but I thank you all, and I will see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Pat Morgan?
I have to abstain for number 1 and number 7, and yes otherwise.
Great, thank you. Okay, now Rafael, Elizabeth,
Yes to all.
perfect, Tanya,
Yes to all.
okay. Sherry Rolnick,
Yes to all.
okay. Gladys Sandoval,
Yes to all.
thank you. David Schneier,
Yes to all.
thanks. Herb,
Yes to all.
okay. And Jean Silva,
Yes to all.
okay. Teresa Simmons,
Yes to all.
okay. Robert Tamayo,
Yes to all.
okay. Irina,
Yes to all.
Martha Tucker,
Yes, all, and I was having Wi-Fi issues. I'd like to say yes for the liquor license. Sorry about that.
it happens. I had to bump my router before our call tonight, so I get it. Susan Wanderman,
Yes to all.
okay. Alexa Weitzman,
Yes to all.
John Weston,
1 and 7 abstain, and yes to the others.
okay. Edwin Wong,
Yes to all.
okay. And then, okay, and that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
Elizabeth,
guys.
is there-
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. So next up is the presentation from the Aging, Social Services, and Disabilities. Actually, one second. I want to thank everyone that showed up tonight. Just in case we had questions, we had various people. Great to hear from Robert Ash. We also had Deborah Greger from Forest Hills Jewish Center, Cynthia Marr from Visiting Neighbors, Leslie Brown from the Forest Hills Chamber, Michael Kearns from Forest Hills Regal Park Lions Club. I want to thank them for coming. Also want to thank Sam from ABC License for the Cottage Tavern for coming tonight, just in case we had questions. We see you. We thank you for being available to us tonight, and good luck on all of your good work with these restaurants and the street activities. So thank you tonight. Okay.
Heather, can I
Yes.
just say one thing? I just want to thank Christine Nolan and the staff at Community Board 6 for just doing a wonderful job on these applications, getting them out to the members, getting them to me. I mean, it's been really tough remotely to do this, but she and her staff have been really just great and always available to answer questions. So I think we really need to acknowledge Christine and all the work that she does, and Frank and the rest of the staff at Community Board 6, because it's been difficult. So thank you. I just want to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and everybody else.
Thank you. Okay, next up is the report from the Aging, Social Services, and Disabilities Committee. And I believe that's Mr. Mark Lasker. Mark, you're up.
No,
Thank you.
it's Anicia.
Oh, Denisia.
I'm going to do the report for the Aging, Social Services, Disability Committee. We had a webinar presentation on January 13. We did it in
Oh,
conjunction
I'm
with
sorry. Oh, Alicia, no, I'm sorry. That was the borough president.
the board of president. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to do the AG Social Service. You can talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you. So, all right. So I just wanted to, so AG Social Service, yeah, and there was some confusion about this. I apologize for the confusion here. So last month, the AG Social Service Disability Committee, in conjunction with Community Board 6's Education, Library, and Youth Committee, CB9's Education Committee, Queens Community House and Common Point Queens, sponsored a really great activity. It was called Let's Talk with Seniors and Teens. It was an intergenerational presentation. We had 3 teenagers interview 3 seniors, and then a panel discussion about coping with COVID and suggestions on how to improve our community. What we all learned that night is that though there are differences between generations, there are many similarities. We received much positive feedback regarding this presentation. We also got a nice article in the Queens Courier about Let's Talk with Seniors and Teens. And when I last checked our Facebook page, we had 983 people who actually viewed, I don't know if the whole presentation, but actually viewed part of the presentation. So we're in the process of setting up another meeting to plan a follow-up activity because this first one was just so successful. And the other thing, the other activities of the Aging Social Service Disability Committee is we're planning to have a brainstorming session this upcoming Monday, February 14th at 6:30, where we're going to be discussing future presentations and how we can try to improve attendance, because we do a lot of great stuff, but unfortunately we would like to see more people come and actively participate. So we're going to have a discussion about that. We're also going to be talking about our senior resource manual, which I think Frank mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. And also we're going to be taking a quick look at our senior survey. So that's it for Aging Social Service and Disability. Thank you, Heather.
All right, thank you so much. And I have to say, having watched the video, if you haven't had a chance, please check it out. There was a really meaningful exchange between Gail Gordon and students that was actually commending current students for how they are really persisting and persevering through COVID-19 and how hard it has been. And it was just a really wonderful, wonderful exchange. So if you have a moment to sort of, give that a good listen, I think it is worth your time. It is so, it's, as my mother would say, it was so edifying. It's really great. The next report is from Kevin Lee from the Diversity Education and Community Engagement Committee. Kevin?
Oh, is it my turn? Thank you so much, Madam Chair. On the DC committee, Martha and I are putting the listening session on pause, and it's something that we can come back to. We would like to just invite all committee members and board members who are interested in this work and continuing this work to join us for just several vision sessions. We're still trying to just work with the office to nail down some dates. But the plan is for us to spend the next few months revisiting the mission, the vision, and the purpose, and just getting back to the roots of just why we started the DC committee in the first place. So your feedback is really important to us. It's going to help current members, future members, and also future co-chairs. So I will keep everyone up to date. All right. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much. Okay, now we are on to the good and welfare portion of our meeting. So using the raise hand function, I'm going to first call on members of the board who may have announcements tonight. Heidi, calling on you first.
Thank you so much, Heather. I just wanted to let everybody know next Wednesday on Zoom, we are having our precinct community council meeting. Everyone's invited to attend. Email me at council112@yahoo.com, and happy to be there. And if you also have any questions for the precinct, please also include your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Next up is Peter Beadle. Peter?
Thanks. Thanks, Heather. I just wanted to do a plug for our Transportation Committee meeting that's coming up a week from Thursday. We're going to have a really interesting presentation by Circuit Ride. This is it's an electric rideshare service that is looking to expand its reach, and it might be something that could fit well here in the Regal Park Forest Hills area as an on-demand circulator neighborhood electric vehicle that could help people get around the neighborhood for either free or just a very low fare using an app to run errands, do shopping, go to stores, go to restaurants, being able to leave your car at home, or if you don't have a car, it'll give you more flexible transportation around the neighborhood. So that's going to be next Thursday at 7 o'clock. So look for that, and please sit in and watch, because it might be something that we'll eventually bring to the board to discuss. And also attendees, any of you, like if Leslie, if you're still on, hopefully you can make it, because having the Chamber of Commerce, Forest Hill Stadium, Vernado over here, the Regal Mall, the more that we can involve our local businesses in evaluating this service and perhaps helping to sponsor it, the lower we could keep any potential fares down. So come have a look.
Thank you, Peter. Next up is Mark Laster.
Yeah, I just want to update the community board. I'm sure people know who Steve Melnick is, and he's like the head of the Friends of McDonald Park. Steve's going through some physical things now, so he's not able to keep the same level of activity. So he's reached out to a number of community members and community organizations. So I just wanted to let the board know that I just want to give a shout out to somebody in Hevesy's office who's really stepping up to kind of coordinate in Steve's absence and that he can't do stuff. And also to acknowledge the Friends of McDonald Park, who's providing volunteers, and also the Forest Hills Green Team has committed to providing volunteers as well. And again, if any organizations want to work on this to kind of fill in, because we know Steve does so much work there, and we really need to support him as he goes through his physical challenges. Hopefully, when he's ready to come back, the park will be in good shape.
Thank you so much, Mark. Next up is John Dorzowski. John? John, for the first time tonight, we cannot hear you.
He needs to take himself off mute.
Okay, I'm now unmuted. I'm sorry. Just wanted to say a report that the subcommittee of the Transportation Committee on the Accessoride, we did have a meeting, and both Latrice, Pat Morgan, and a member of the public member was the name I unfortunately don't recall. We met. Also, we had there was a data. We had a representative from an advocacy group there, and it was basically just a general meeting to kind of go over concerns that we do have, mostly between the systemic kind of issues that are problematic with Accessoride. I think it was a good matter that, and the person from the advocacy group also gave a number of other links that we will be reaching out to. I think the aim of the subcommittee is really to basically come with a listing and working in coordination with advocacy groups of some areas of problems and improvements and recommendations that we will be working with first through the Transportation Committee and obviously through the board then. But I just wanted to say we're starting. You'll be hearing some more, from us in time. And I just wanted to give just a short statement of where, of that we are doing it, that we are in action and acting on it.
Thank you so much. Anicia Ione, I see your hand.
Yes, I just want to mention that our members of Community Board 6, we had a presentation with the Office of the Queensboro President, Common Points, Queensboro Library, Chazad's organization, basis on aging in place, growing olders at home. We have representatives from AARP, the Department of Aging, and the Queens Public Library. It was a very interesting presentation, and we have almost more than 100 people that they participate on the webinar. And we are trying to continue doing more of these webinars for our senior community, giving them more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anicia. I really appreciate that. Since I see no other reports from the board members, I'm going to move on to the elected officials list. First on my list is Michael Carlier from Assemblymember Hevesy's office. Michael?
Hi, Heather. Thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, just fine.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Of course, as everyone may be aware today, as New York State lifts the mask mandates, the Assemblyman will still continue to give away PPE, mask, sanitizer throughout the community. We did just want to let people know that, of course, with these mandates possibly being further lifted, such as in schools and such, we first want to say that we're proud that we've reached this point where this is feasible, and that is, of course, thanks in large part to our collective diligence in regards to the masking and the vaccines and the boosters. But we do just want to remind folks that some people will still be wearing masks just as an extra precaution due to many New Yorkers being immunocompromised, having asthma, diabetes, and other pre-existing conditions. So we do just want to preach understanding throughout the neighborhoods as these mandates are removed and lifted at different rates. On that note, the Assemblyman has a PPE giveaway this Sunday at Juniper Park. That'll be this Sunday at 10 a.m. Right by 80th Street by the tennis courts where the
I'm sorry, you got a half a minute.
from the west and eastern side. If you can't make it this Sunday and you still do need supplies, of course, you can call our office at 718-263-5595 to either come into our office for a pickup of masks, sanitizer, and such, or we can arrange some sort of delivery. Of course, anytime 9 to 5, you can call our office and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And that's basically it for me.
Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate that. Next up is supposed to be Ricky Malone from Assemblymember Hevesey's office, but I don't see him.
I don't see him. Sean is here.
Mark, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I don't see him, but Sean is
Okay.
here.
Thank you, Peter. Sean McCabe from Senator Adabo's office.
How you doing, everybody?
Good.
The senator pretty much touched on all my talking points, so I might as well just take this time to introduce myself and say hi. Just started working for the senator a couple of months back. I'm an Ozone Park kid. Christine Nolan and Frank Aluccio have known me since well before I could grow a beard. Don't hold it against me. I did go to school at Christ the King, and my father-in-law works at the Forest Hills Produce Market. So I hope that's a couple of points. But yeah, just happy to be working for the senator. Spent the last 20 years between the Army and private security. So if you come to the office and I don't know what I'm doing just yet, bear with me. I'm still getting my feet wet. But I'll do my best. And, you know, if there's anything I can do to help you guys out, please just reach out.
Thank you so much, Sean. Appreciate you staying with us tonight. And next up is Kevin from Councilmember Lynn Shulman's office. Kevin.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hope everyone's safe, happy, healthy, you know, lowercase numbers. So fingers crossed we can make our way out of this. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Kevin. I'm the community and constituent liaison for Councilmember Shulman. So if you ever call our office, it's me who gets back to you. So here's the face to the voice. So the council member just wanted me to let you all know that, you know, we're still wetting our feet in the world of the council, only a month in, still very hectic time. As I'm sure a bunch of you are aware, it is coming up to be budget season. So we're meeting with community members and local not-for-profits, having a lot of budgetary meetings, super duper busy. It's fun, but it's hard work, but it's fun work. Also, as you're also probably aware, committee assignments happened, and Councilmember Shulman is the chair of the Health Committee. She's incredibly excited to start doing work to make healthcare affordable for New Yorkers and to really improve our healthcare infrastructure and healthcare policy in the city. She's also members of the committees on aging, education, criminal justice, fire and emergency management, governmental operations, and the subcommittee on zoning and franchises, which is particularly important what with the recent spate of development that we're seeing in our community. So she has an inroad in those specific policy spheres. If you ever want to reach out for, you know, any specific suggestions, we're always open ears. Additionally, she also—
30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. This is also a really, really quick thing. We're getting a lot of engagement on social media, people direct messaging us or people posting at us. We really appreciate the communication. And of course, Councilmember Shulman loves to communicate with the community. But the best thing for you to do is for you to call or email our office if you have any significant problems, because we don't always check our social media. So our office number is 718-544-8800, and our email is district29@council.nyc.gov. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Love the energy at this hour of the night. Thank you so much for that. Next up is Emperito Rosario from the BP's office. Emperito, the floor is
Good evening,
yours.
everyone. Hi, good evening, everyone. I really don't have anything much to say. I think the BP gave a great report. And I think everyone else has mentioned about the community board applications. So I really don't have anything to say. Just wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think that's it. Are there any other electeds I may have missed that came on late? I don't think. I think we're good. Okay, fantastic. All right, so happy Valentine's Day to all who celebrate. I appreciate all of you and hope you have a wonderful weekend. For those who watch the Super Bowl, enjoy this weekend. Here a little snow is coming our way, but hey, it's February, that's what's supposed to happen. So it's the end of our meeting, so unless there is anything else, which I don't believe there is, I would appreciate a motion to adjourn.
Aye. Motion to end the meeting.
Aye. All in favor say
Aye.
aye.
Happy March 9th, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It was uneventful, but leave meeting.
Uneventful.